In April 2013, a building collapsed in Savar, Bangladesh. Over 1,100 workers died, another 2,500 were injured. From the rubble of Rana Plaza, a worker made this plea: "Save us, brother. I beg you, brother. I want to live. It's so painful here. I have 2 little children." Before us is an opportunity for Canada and Bangladesh to go forward side by side to realize the desires that we have in common: peace and political stability, economic growth and jobs, jobs that pay enough to support our families, jobs that are safe enough to allow us to return home to them each night.
In April 2014, Matthew Kelvey, NDP MP for Beaches, East York, along with delegates from affiliated unions of the Canadian Labour Congress, travelled to Dhaka, Bangladesh, to commemorate the lives lost under the rubble of Rana Plaza. It was early in the morning, before the sun made it hot, and the traffic brought the city to a standstill. Kalpana Akhtar, a local union leader, meets with the Canadian delegation to discuss challenges and repercussions that workers are facing in Bangladesh, trying to organize unions and their fight for basic health and safety rights.
We have about 5,000 factories across the country, and we have only 140 union that has been registered, and majority have just registered last 1 year. So again, the question is, the law is not enforced. And second, why just only 140? Haven't our workers tried to organize themselves? They haven't tried to get a union registration? Yes, they tried. But whenever they try to organize union or organize themselves at the factory, they're being threatened, beaten, fired, falsely charged, which is, falsely criminally charged, brought against them. Even sometimes the local people force them to leave the community. So this sort of retaliation our workers face. But when we have 140 union registered, we just mean we have a hope.
On April 24th, the team headed to Savar, an industrial suburb of Dhaka, to join Bangladeshi workers, survivors, and relatives of those who died in the rubble, for a rally outside where Rana Plaza once stood. There was anger, frustration, sorrow, and tension in the air. But the Canadian team was welcomed and immediately caught the attention of Bangladesh's national media.
In sorrow and in sympathy for the survivors and victims of Bangladesh Rana Plaza tragedy. I want you to know that we stand in solidarity with all the workers of Bangladesh.
We're here to mourn for the dead and fight for the living. We want to be with you shoulder to shoulder to make sure that these suppliers pay up, to make sure that the victims of the families are made whole. We want to make sure that going forward that you're going to have collective bargaining rights, you're going to have the right to organize and the right to have a decent society.
We will go back to Canada and we will demand from the suppliers that they treat the Bangladeshi garment workers with respect. We're telling the suppliers in Canada and the United States that they must sign the accord and they must respect the workers and respect the safety of the workers of Bangladesh.
I am very honored to be here today to stand in solidarity with you guys.
We need the government and the brands to pay compensation for the workers who have suffered and their families. And most importantly, we need to make sure that a tragedy like this never happens again.
The street was full of people holding up photos of their loved ones. Many of them never found the bodies of their relatives under the collapsed building, and many of them will never qualify for compensation. Not much has changed on the site since the days immediately following the collapse. The garments being made in Rana Plaza still lay strewn amongst the rubble. A year later, many bodies still have not been found or identified.
I didn't anticipate that the site here was in fact a burial ground for some of the workers, and this is the outcome of the logic of an economic system where a workplace, a garment factory, becomes a burial ground for workers. We have people here today that come to mourn the people that they lost here, and we have mothers and brothers and fathers coming to still find their missing loved ones in this rubble.
To see many of the family members standing out there clutching photos of their loved ones, you can't help but feel the sorrow. We have a Canadian delegation that's come here, and we come here to obviously mourn the dead, but also fight for the living, and to make sure that justice is brought about for those families that want to recover their families and make sure that they're compensated.
I think it's a very hard day for me, and it challenges my mind to think why as suppliers there's still a reluctance to assist in the garment industry in Bangladesh. You know, a year ago today, this plant collapsed, many deaths on this location, and I would say that for the governments around the world, and for the suppliers who buy from the garment industry all around the world, but in particular from Bangladesh, if there's a question in their mind as to why they should participate in the accord, or if there's a reluctance to participate in the accord and work hard to establish safety for these workers in Bangladesh, I would say just come here for a day, have a look around, talk and look to the families of the victims that are out there holding the pictures of their loved ones, some of which have never been recovered. There's no closure for the Bangladeshi people in this location.
It's a site that has not been memorialized or recognized as being a site of one of the largest industrial accidents in the world. And I couldn't help but think that the lack of recognition on the site suggests that these lives have very little value.
The Canadian delegates traveled to Ashulia, about 20 kilometers outside of Dhaka, to meet with Rana Plaza survivors and to hear their stories.
We come from Canada in sorrow for the lives lost in Rana Plaza. And we come in solidarity because we stand with the workers of Bangladesh.
While Rana Plaza was not the first or the last garment factory tragedy in Bangladesh, with 1,134 lives lost and over 2,500 workers seriously injured, Survivors and loved ones of the deceased told stories of broken families, broken hearts, and orphaned children.
On the day when Rana collapsed, we went to the factory in the morning and we worked few minutes, 30 minutes or so, and then the factory collapsed. And when it's collapsed, I stopped, and I saw there is a worker stuck under the machine, and she just died, and I got head injuries. They sent me the mental hospital because my mental situation wasn't good, and then I couldn't stay there. Later I went to the Rangpur. It is another district where I took this counseling.
Last year, you were in our thoughts and prayers, and again this year, you will be in our thoughts and prayers. So I'm leaving with you a flag from Canada, Canadian flag.
উনি আপনাদেরকে সম্মান জানাচ্ছেন একটা দেশের সবচেয়ে বড় সম্মান হচ্ছে সেই দেশের পতাকা হ্যাঁ উনি আমাদেরকে সম্মানটা জানাচ্ছেন আপনাদেরকে
I was disappointed to see that there are a number of victims that still have not received compensation, that are dealing with these issues on a day-to-day manner, trying to figure out what is the next step in their life when they have not recovered a loved one's body and they have not received compensation so they can move on with their life. It was a very difficult day, and I would hope that some of the work that we do here and some of the conversations that we have will expedite that process.
Rebecca Khatun, now 22, right in front of her, 4 other family members also perished. For Rebecca, Rana Plaza took her legs, leaving her totally dependent on her husband.
তারপরে আমরা তো যখন বিল্ডিংটা আমার পড়ে যায় পায়ের উপর, তারপরে দুটো এ পাশে একটা বিম পড়ছে, মানে এইভাবে পড়ছে বিমটা, এ পাউটা আমার এই পর্যন্ত ঢুকে গেছে বিমের নিচে, আর এই পাউটা এই পর্যন্ত ঢুকছে, ঢোকার পরে আর আমি বের করতে পারি না পা। তারপরে ওইভাবে আমি দুই রাত 2 দিন পরে আমি তখন অনেক পানির জন্য চিকড়ি করতেছি, কোনো পানি নেই ওই জায়গায়। তারপরে আমি ঘাম চুষে খাইও কোনোদিন হয় না ওই জায়গায়। তারপরে রক্ত হইতেছে, মনে হচ্ছে রক্ত চুষে খাই এরকম মনে হইতেছে।
জগ নিয়ে গেলাম, জগ নিয়ে যা 2 পাশে 2টা লাগার পরও কাম হয় না। লাস্টে বিম কাটার পর এত চটপট হয়ে গেছে, শুধু খালি বলতেছে আমার হাজবেন্ড কই, আমার হাজবেন্ড কই, আমি বাঁচবো না, আমি মারা যাবো। আর বলতেছে আমার মা কই।
4টার দিকে উদ্ধার করছে, উদ্ধার করার আগে মেয়ে পাউটা ইনকে টান দিছে, এই পাউটা যেভাবে হোক আসছে, আর এই পাউটা টানেও বের করতে পারে না। তখন ওই রশি পা বাঁধে তারপরে টান দিছে, টান দেওয়ার পর এই জায়গার যারা বার করতে গেছে উদ্ধারকারী আর কি, তারা ওই যে যখন পা ধরে যখন ওই দড়ি ধরে টান দিছে আর অমনি পায়ের রকম ছিঁড়ে গেছে।
ছিঁড়ে যাওয়ার পর তার প্রসবের রাস্তা ফাইটে গেল, ওইটা আমরা দেখতে পাই নাই। পরে এটা দেখা গেল যে প্রসবের রাস্তা ফাইটে গেছে, ওখানে 7টা সেলাই দেওয়া হলো, প্রায় 80 ব্যাগ ব্লাড গেছে, বি নেগেটিভ। এই তো ব্লাড পাওয়া যায় না।
আমার সরকারে 10 লাখ টাকা সঞ্চয়পত্র দিছে, 10 লাখ টাকার সঞ্চয়পত্র 9,200 টাকা আসে। এই 200 টাকা 9,200 টাকা দিয়ে আমি ঘর ভাড়া দিব না দোকান বিল দিব না যেগুলা ঋণ করছি সেগুলো দিব, আমি কোন দিক দিয়ে আমি চলবো? কোনোভাবে আমি চলতে পারতেছি না। যে সারা রাত আমার হাজবেন্ড বসে থাকে এলে ইয়ে করে কতক্ষণ বসে থাকতে পারে? মানুষের তো ঘুম একটা আছে, সে ঘুমও পারতে পারে না।
Mustafizur is a carpenter, but he had to give up his career to look after Rebecca full-time.
These brands aren't paying their fair of compensation. The ILO has met with the stakeholders, and it was agreed, and there was an actuarial assessment that the total amount of compensation was to be about $40 million for loss of life and injuries suffered from the Rana Plaza collapse. $40 million. Of that $40 million, currently there's about $16 million that has been raised so far, and of that $16 million, 2 companies, Loblaws and Primark, have given $11 million out of the $16 million. We're still $24 million shy, and companies like Walmart are a blip on the screen. They've contributed hardly anything, and it's a shame. These companies have to pay their fair share of compensation. Bengalis are out of work because of injuries suffered at Rana Plaza, and it's a shame these companies aren't paying their fair share.
On the anniversary of the collapse, stakeholders of the ILO's Better Factories initiative, including Canada's High Commissioner, the US Ambassador, employer associations and government ministers, hold a press conference. Assessments of progress made in the year since Rana Plaza fell are shared, and pledges to do more to keep workers safe are made.
Workers labor in safe conditions and have the right to associate and organize, so they too have a collective voice.
I strongly believe our collective efforts will definitely keep the energy sector safe and secure.
After hearing all of the comments yesterday at the news conference, I think I would have been more pleased to hear a stronger voice and a stronger message from the government of Bangladesh.
Every morning, 7 days a week, over 4 million garment workers, mostly women, make their way to work within Bangladesh. Some of the factories are well guarded by armed police. The industry has grown and continues to grow at a phenomenal rate, pulling women out of villages and into factories in the industrial suburbs of Bangladesh's bustling and booming cities.
We developed the international labour community in conjunction with our friends and allies of the Bangladeshi labour community, developed the Accord on Fire and Building Safety in Bangladesh, which currently, as I speak, has 156 global retailers and brands signed up.
Canadian engineer Brad Lowen is the Chief Safety Inspector under the Accord on Fire and Safety.
The Accord is a legally binding agreement between the signatories, the unions on the one hand and the brands on the other. The ILO is the independent chair. The International Labour Organization chairs the steering committee of the Accord. It requires independent inspections of all the factories that are used by the Accord signatory brands. The inspections on the level that we're doing them have not happened in the factories before. They're very scientific, code-related, done by engineering experts, which is a shift from what has gone on before. So it's being welcomed for the most part. The factory owners do realize. I think they did have their wake-up call. There's also a similar initiative going on by the government of Bangladesh in factories that are not Accord factories. I mean, we have buildings that we're very concerned about, so we need to take immediate action. And so then the workers are on the street, so to speak, but their wages are guaranteed under the Accord. The brands are obligated to ensure that the factory owner pays the regular wages of the employees while they're away from the building because it's being renovated for safety reasons.
The Alliance of Bangladesh Workers' Safety is another safety initiative organized by Walmart.
The Alliance sets up a system which is non-binding, which is unenforceable by workers, and which does not have proper worker engagement. For that reason, we do not support it. We're campaigning, and we continue to campaign against the Alliance at the urging of our Bangladeshi partners to ensure that brands look at the Accord as the valid partner in Bangladesh and sign the Accord.
Along with Canada's High Commissioner, the delegation met with the association representing Bangladesh garment factory owners, the BGMEA, to hear their views on the challenges of dealing with international brands and the challenges facing the industry in Bangladesh.
You've got global brands and retailers who are forever trying to push down costs and push down prices in order to get a better, what's called factory gate price for the product that they're sourcing. You've got a very strong and politically linked employers federation, the Bangladesh Garment Manufacturers and Exporting Association, who have a vested interest in the industry continuing as it is. To be fair to the BGMEA, they themselves are under pressure from global brands, but we feel that the historical opposition to trade unions in the garment sector was not acceptable then, and it's certainly not appropriate now.
The International Labour Organization, the ILO, a UN body with a focus on international labour standards, has been actively involved since the collapse of Rana Plaza in implementing its Better Factories program in Bangladesh.
Every single garment factory will be inspected to ensure that they are safe structurally, and also fire and electrical safety issues are addressed. So this is in complementarity to the factories that are inspected by the Accord and Alliance. So those factories that are not inspected by the Accord and Alliance are being covered under this program that we launched in support of the National Action Plan for improving working conditions in Bangladesh garment industry.
Delegates met with a number of government officials. The delegation was greeted with a bank of television cameras and a mountain of microphones in their meeting with Commerce Minister Tofail Ahmed, one of the most prominent political personalities in the country. However, journalists were asked to leave during discussion, followed by a press conference broadcast internationally.
Who is emotionally attached with Bangladesh, you see. Every year he observed the International Mother Day, International Mother Language Day. And it is he who took the initiative to set up Shahid Minar in Canada. And he is very much associated and connected with the Bangladeshi community living in Canada. So, Honorable Member of Parliament, Mr. Matthew Kelly.
We are here to extend a hand of friendship to the government of Bangladesh and a hand of friendship to the workers of Bangladesh, in the hopes that the government of Bangladesh will embrace the opportunity for the workers to associate freely, to bargain collective agreements with their employer freely, that will allow the workers of Bangladesh to have a bright future for themselves and for their children.
Rana Plaza ধসের পরে আমাদের বিনিয়োগকারীরা যারা মালিক এই শিল্পের তারাও সতর্ক হয়েছে ইতিমধ্যেই ফায়ার সেফটি তারপরে স্ট্রাকচারাল ইন্টিগ্রিটি অফ বিল্ডিং এগুলির বা বিল্ডিং সেফটি এইসব ব্যাপারে তারা উদ্যোগ গ্রহণ করেছে এবং আমরা আমাদের বাংলাদেশ গভর্নমেন্ট থেকে এইসব জিনিস করার জন্য যে পণ্য আমদানি করতে হবে সেগুলোর আমরা শুল্ক মুক্ত করে দিয়েছি কারখানার শ্রমিকদের 227% বেতন আমরা বৃদ্ধি করেছি গত এই 5 বছরে 1600 থেকে 5300 টাকা করেছি কিন্তু বায়াররা সেই হিসাবে আমাদের পণ্যের দাম বাড়ায়নি এটা আমরা তাদেরকে অনুরোধ করেছি বায়াররা শুধু অর্থনৈতিক সাহায্য না ভবিষ্যতে আমাদের পণ্যের দামও বৃদ্ধি করে যাতে মালিকরা শ্রমিকদেরকে আরো সাহায্য করতে পারে সেই ব্যাপারে আমরা আলোচনা করছি
But I think that there's much more that the government has to do, and I think there's much more that the garment manufacturing and certainly the buyers have to do. But as one of the ILO officers said to us in a meeting, said that had Rana Plaza been organized, this would have been avoided. Had the members had the workers there had it been a collective, this could have been avoided. And I think that tells the whole story. But I don't believe that the government yet has really put enough teeth into the ability to give the real rights to the unions to organize and then to give them some mechanism to do some serious collective bargaining.
The issues right now in Bangladesh, as we talk to the various stakeholders and we've met with various government ministers and secretaries, the issues are inextricably linked right now. The collective bargaining, workers' rights and working conditions is linked to the fire and building safety. However, we have a fear that when the fire and building safety issues begin to become addressed, as indeed we hope they will, we do hope that the working condition and worker rights issues don't fall off the agenda.
Bangladesh's organized unions and union federations hosted the Canadian delegation at a dinner in a hotel in downtown Dhaka.
যেগুলো কমপ্লেন্স বড় বড় ফ্যাক্টরি তাদের জন্য ন্যূনতম মজুরিটা ঠিক আছে কিন্তু যেগুলা সাব কন্ট্রাক্ট ছোট ছোট ফ্যাক্টরি তারা এটা দিবে না।
এখনো শ্রমিকদের জন্য নিরাপত্তা দিতে হলে তাদের কারখানায় ট্রেড ইউনিয়ন থাকতে হবে এবং অবাধ ট্রেড ইউনিয়ন, যে ট্রেড ইউনিয়ন করলে ওই রানা প্লাজার মতো মানে ধসে পড়তো না।
A huge women's are working there, that is 85%, and 90% about they have no even basic knowledge or basic or even literacy, what you call. So first, our intention, we should make them the literate one, and of course we should provide them the trade union education.
Government and industry must do their part to ensure safety and to improve your working conditions. But it is the trade union movement that is the backbone of change. So remember that we have to rise up, and the workers have to ensure and to hold government and industry accountable. Thank you. We stand in solidarity.
Thank you.
Australia, Canada, some of them are signing the accord, but especially the America, they are created Northern Alliance, so which is not fair. So our request to you people should, your members should put pressure to them to sign the accord, not to be alliance, because you know the already you has mentioned about the Walmart, how much they are paying for the workers' compensation. It's very little money through other organizations. These are issues you need to address and put pressure, and we need your support and solidarity. Thank you.
You've made a tremendous amount of progress, but to me, just to register a trade union doesn't go far enough. You got to have the rights to be able to go and negotiate a collective agreement and have that freedom without intimidation or coercion.
প্রধানমন্ত্রী কিছু আপনার তাদের থোক বরাদ্দ সাহায্য করেছে, মালিকদের পক্ষ থেকে ওইভাবে সাহায্য করে নাই, পাই নাই, এমনকি ব্রাঞ্চদের পক্ষ থেকে যে সহযোগিতা পাওয়ার কথা ছিল সেটা আমরা শুনছি, কিন্তু এখনও ওইভাবে সাহায্য আমরা এখানে পাই নাই। এদের সঙ্গে যুদ্ধ করে পারবো না, সেই জন্যই দুনিয়ার মজদুর এক হও এবং আপনারা আমাদের সঙ্গে থাকবেন, আমরা লড়াই করে আমাদের অধিকারকে আমরা অর্জন করব। দুনিয়ার মজদুর এক হও।
I want you to know that we won't forget this experience. We won't forget the tragedy of Rana Plaza and Tazreen and the hundreds of other deaths in the garment industry here in Bangladesh. And that while you work here to represent the workers of Bangladesh in their struggle, we back home in Canada and the United States will continue our work to help the workers of Bangladesh.
In Old Dhaka, members of the delegation met young, courageous union organizers in the offices of the Bangladesh Center for Workers' Solidarity.
I'm very moved by the passion and the commitment of the young workers we met today. Now I feel I want to go back. I feel strength from them. They've given me strength, and I've got to go home and try and express that to my own union and to other people, to other workers, other unions, to try and find ways to provide more support.